which gave once then caught. You opened only to the chain. The shaded lamp was on below. Was it for me or for the stairs? You kept one hand against the door and let me choose how close I stood. I came to take the cedar box. You tied the lid with kitchen string. 2 cups stood dry beside the sink. You reached for one, then changed your mind. Do you still take milk, you asked? Then, sorry, take your time. I said I'm only here 10 minutes, then set my bag against the wall. A small light in the hallway, not a promise, not a plea, just enough to see your face and the space you left for me. I won't call it coming back. You won't call the old days right. We can stand here without hiding in a small light in the hallway. The floorboard near the radiator complained beneath my careful shoe. I almost laughed the way I used to, bit my cheek and looked at you. You moved the chair farther and gave my shoulders room to ease. The kindest thing you did that evening was leave the second cup unpoured. I turned it upright when I chose, and you kept your hands away. You faced the kettle, not my answer. No promise louder than the steam. That small light in the hallway isn't asking me to stay. It shows the cracks along the floor and leaves the choice with me. I won't call this coming back, but I set my bag inside. You turned the kettle on behind me and left the hallway lamp alight. Leave it on until I go. I don't know when that will be. You knocked before the rain, though the brass key still fit. 3 soft taps against the frame where you once walked straight in. I heard more in that restraint then in everything explained. You could have opened like before, but you knocked before the rain. The clouds had lowered past the roofs, the landing smelled of bread. You held a paper bag against you and kept the key inside your hand. No flowers leaning toward forgiveness, no speech upon the stairs, just flour whitening one sleeve and weather gathering in the air. I asked why you'd come. You said the street will flood by 5, then looked at what your palm was holding, as if the key decided us. You knocked before the rain, with the old key in your hand, not asking me to take it back or tell you where we stand. I moved the chain but kept the doorway wide enough for one clear choice. You waited where the mat was fraying and never raised your voice. You set the key beside the bread, not in my hand, not out of reach. I didn't slide it back toward you, I didn't turn it into speech. The first drop struck the metal railing. You glanced behind you at the street. I opened one more inch of doorway and moved my shoes to make you space. You knocked before the rain, now the storm was on the glass. I said come in until it settles, we don't have to name it fast. The key stayed quiet by the bread, the weather crossed the window pane. You could have entered like before, but you knocked before the rain. 3 soft taps, and then you waited. You carried soup in the blue pot. I found the bowls behind the flour. We chose the chairs across from one another and called it only dinner for an hour. The table rocked beneath your wrist, that same short leg, that same old floor. You folded up a grocery receipt and pushed it underneath once more. We tried the table again, 2 chairs and nothing grand. You passed the salt instead of reaching, without asking for my hand. The soup went cool between our sentences. We let the quiet have its turn. We tried the table again, and nothing had to burn. before you moved my cup. I noticed more than I let show. I kept my coat behind my chair in case I needed room to go. Then your spoon slipped in the bowl and spotted broth across your sleeve. I laughed before I could prevent it. You smiled like laughter wasn't leave. The folded receipt began to slide. The table tipped toward me again. We both reached down and bumped our heads, then sat there laughing like old friends. I won't pretend the wood is mended, because one folded corner holds. But you didn't push your chair beside me, and I didn't leave before it cooled. We cleared the bowls without deciding who would be the first to stay. You left the receipt beneath the table. I chose to leave it there that way. We tried the table again. Not the future, not the past. Just two bowls drying by the window, and an hour we didn't waste. The chair stayed where I placed it. Yours stayed gently opposite. We tried the table again, and this time it held. Paint had sealed the smaller sash. You scored its edge with my old knife. I held the curtain from your shoulder, dust lifting silver in the light. The room still wore the faded square where our photograph had been. Neither of us named the outline. You pressed your thumb beneath the frame. The windows opened slowly, one stubborn inch, then two. Cold air moved across the bookshelf and changed the smell of the room. You didn't say it's better, I didn't say we're through. The windows opened slowly, that was all they had to do. A bus sighed somewhere past the garden. Someone's radio found a tune. The curtain touched the empty picture, then settled near the wooden stool. You asked before you moved the lamp. I said the left side would be fine. The words were small enough to carry without pretending they were signs. small. You kept the useless one for no good reason. I knew that habit after all. The windows opened slowly, not wide enough to lose the past. The marks remained beneath the paint. The old air didn't leave at once, but when the curtain touched my sleeve, I didn't pull away from you. The windows opened slowly, and we left one open through the afternoon. The window latch refused to settle. You turned the screw a second time. I held the frame against my shoulder while flakes of paint fell on the tiles. Then something in your voice grew sharper. Only one word, only wait. But my fingers locked around the handle, like the room had changed its state. Old winter in my hands, though the stove was burning near. The metal shook against my palm before I understood the fear. I said I'm fine too quickly, while my knuckles answered white. Old winter in my hands had walked back in without the cold. You started, I was only trying. I heard the old defense arrive. So I put the screwdriver down and said, don't finish that tonight. The sentence felt too firm between us. I nearly softened it from shame. Then you stepped backward from the window and didn't make me take the blame. The kettle clicked behind the doorway. Neither of us crossed the floor. You placed both hands where I could see them, then sat beside the kitchen door. You said, I'll fix it when you ask me. Not you're wrong, not let it go. I watched the color leave my fingers slow enough for me to know the past had not become the present just because my body ran. I picked the screwdriver up and chose which part to hold again. Old winter in my hands didn't melt because you stayed. It loosened when you heard me stop you and let the stopping stay. The window still would not close fully. We left 1 inch against the frame. coat was dark with evening mist. You held it folded on your arm. The hook beside the mirror waited where a calendar had hung. You asked me where I wanted it, as if the place could still be wrong. I touched the empty hook beside me and heard myself say, leave it on. Leave your coat beside mine, not across the kitchen chair. I cleared one hook this afternoon, then acted like I didn't care. Leave your coat beside mine, till the cold has left the wood. I can't tell you what tomorrow means, but tonight the hook can hold. Your sleeve leaned into my old collar, then settled back against the wall. No suitcase waiting by the doorway, no question bigger than the hall. You wiped your shoes without me asking, set the damp cloth by the grate. I nearly moved your coat for distance, then let my hand fall by my waist. Started in the kitchen. You asked if mint tea would be fine. I said the cups were where they used to be, then wondered if I'd crossed a line. Last time that your coat stayed hanging, you left before the wool was dry. I wore it once to take out rubbish, then put it back and wondered why. Tonight you didn't call it staying, you only waited for the steam. Your sleeve remained beside my shoulder without demanding what it means. Beside mine, let the two sleeves touch the wall. Not because the cold is over, not because I know it all. Leave your coat beside mine until morning if you choose. I made one ordinary space, and I'm leaving it for you. The pen slipped when I turned the handle. Hot oil caught the side of my thumb. You crossed the kitchen without thinking, before the sting had fully come. Your fingers reached to check the blister. Mine pulled back against my chest. The movement happened before language, before I knew what I'd confessed. I flinched at something kind before I knew I'd moved. Your hand stopped in the space between us and did not follow through. I wanted to say, don't take it back, but speech arrived behind. So you waited by the sink when I flinched at something kind. You didn't make your face go hard or ask me who had changed. You ran the tap, folded the cloth, and asked, is cold okay? I nodded while my hand kept shaking, angry at the shaking more. You laid the cloth beside the chopping board, then stepped back from the drawer. Against the metal, the onions waited in the pan. I picked the cloth up for myself. You turned the burner down by hand. The kindness wasn't in the reaching, it was stopping when I moved. It was leaving help beside me without asking me to prove that every nerve had learned the difference between this room and what had been. I pressed the cloth against my thumb and asked you to come close again. I flinched at something kind, and you let kindness wait. No wounded pride across your mouth, no hand against the gate. When I held my fingers out, you met them halfway slow. I flinched at something kind, then chose how near you'd go. The rosemary had gone to wood, the bean poles leaned across the path. You brought the twine from the back drawer, I found the rusted garden spade. We worked without discussing us, one row, one root, one loosened stone. The earth came dark beneath the surface and didn't ask why we'd come home. The garden asked for nothing but the weight of both our hands, one to hold the crooked stem, one to press the loosened ground. No promise for September, no answer for the spring. The garden asked for nothing, so we gave it simple things. You found a button in the soil, green glass with one small thread. You claimed it must be mine. I said my coats have better taste. You laughed and dropped it in my pocket. I kept it though I knew you lied. The joke sat warmer than the sunlight on the unplanted garden side. We tied the peas to separate canes, then crossed the twine above the row. The pattern held because the tension wasn't pulled too hard below. show the places frost had stayed. One lavender had lost its center, new leaves gathered at the base. You asked if we should cut the dead wood. I said not all of it today. We watered what was still deciding and let the rest remain. The garden asked for nothing but an hour before the heat. Your palm was brown with potting soil, mine smelled of crushed mint leaves. No vow beneath the branches, there's no need to make it grand. The garden asked for nothing, and I stayed to wash my hands. We chose the morning anyway, with yesterday still in the room. One chipped cup, one window stuck, no clean conclusion coming soon. You burned the toast, I stayed to eat. We let the ordinary stay. Nothing had turned easy yet. We chose the morning anyway. Your coat was still beside my coat. The kettle clicked at 6:30. You scraped the blackened edge of breakfast with a small blue-handled knife. I watched you reach for my old plate, then choose the newer one instead. That careful pause was almost nothing. It was enough to keep me there. We chose the morning anyway, not because the dark was gone. We opened only half the curtain and let the pale day carry on. I nearly dressed before you woke. My shoes were waiting by the chair. I had one earring in my pocket and every reason to disappear. Then you called breakfast from the kitchen without asking where I'd slept. I took my shoes back off in silence and folded up the doubt I'd kept. I need to tell you I was leaving before I smelled the toast go black. Some part of me still trusts departure more than any promise back. You didn't say, but you remained, or turned my staying into proof. You passed the marmalade across and left the morning loose. We chose the morning anyway, with all the difficult things true. The cup was chipped, the window stubborn, toast was nearly ruined too. You laughed, I let the sound come closer, then cleared a place beside my plate. Nothing had turned easy yet. We chose the morning anyway. The kettle clicked, neither of us left. The cedar box was on the table, its kitchen string already cut. You lifted out the folded lease, my name crossed through in fading blue. Beneath it lay the letter I had written, never sent. 4 pages making you the villain, 1 blank line where my part should have been. You read the first page without speaking. I watched your thumb avoid the tear. The words were sharp and mostly honest, that made the missing truth more clear. I wrote that you had stopped returning. I didn't write how I withdrew. I wrote that you had made me lonely, not how I punished you with rules. You placed the pages on the table and said this part was true for me. Your finger found the empty margin where my answer should have been. What forgiveness could not hide was the relief beneath the grief. You were tired of being needed, I was tired of making peace. We had missed each other badly, we had also needed space. Both things lived inside the leaving, neither cancelled what we gave. I wasn't only left behind, I also made it hard to stay. You weren't only cold and distant, you were frightened of my blame. The sentence shook when I admitted it, not from beauty, from the cost. You reached toward the folded letter, then let me choose if it was lost. What forgiveness could not hide doesn't mean we failed to mend. It means the grain beneath the paint travels end to end. If we build another season, we begin with both sides named. What forgiveness could not hide is what must not be hidden again. I folded up the letter, I did not put it back. The rubbish bag was in my left hand. My slippers caught against the mat. You stood inside and sliced 2 pears without turning to ask me back. Cool evening filled the landing. Someone's dinner filled the stairs. I stepped inside, pulled shut the door, and found the old key waiting there. I turned the key from inside, heard the small brass answer clean. You kept slicing pears behind me, like it didn't have to mean anything more than evening closing, anything less than I decide. You didn't ask me why I did it. I turned the key from inside. The soup was low beneath the burner. Your book lay open by the chair. My scarf was drying near your jacket. Two ordinary things were there. I checked the lock a second time, from habit though not fear alone. Then put the rubbish by the cupboard and straightened one frame on the wall. You asked if pears belonged in salad. I said they do if you cut them small. You cut the pieces smaller. I ate the crooked pieces. There were years I turned a key to keep your footsteps from the room. There were months I left it open, hoping you might change too soon. Tonight the lock was only metal. The hour late, the hallway cold. I turned it because we both were in, and evening needed somewhere closed. I turned the key from inside, then carried both our bowls away. You wiped the counter, fed the kettle, and asked what time I'd awake next day. No verdict hiding in the gesture, no final truth I had to find. You went on slicing pears behind me. I left the key turned from inside. The hallway lamp was off at noon. Open curtains held the sun. The cedar box stood by the bookcase, its loosened string no longer wound. Two cups were drying by the sink, one chipped, one plain, both used. You carried seedlings from the garden and asked which shelf I meant to choose. Spring found us wiser, not innocent, not new. The garden kept its broken wall, and still the green came through. We didn't promise never winter. We knew what cold could do. You set the chipped cup by my hand. I left a chair The letter from the cedar box stayed folded in the drawer. We didn't burn it or read it when we fought. The scarf that held another winter now patted one loose window frame. Nothing vanished into beauty. Things simply learned another place. We planted time beside the roses. You held the pot, I pressed the ground. The button from last summer's garden still clicked inside my pocket lining. Some evenings I still need the lock. Some mornings you still need the street. We say it before the old fear can turn a need into defeat. Your hand no longer takes my silence for an answer I have made. It waits beside mine on the table. I reach when I am ready. Spring found us wiser, with the old marks still in view. The garden kept its broken wall and every careful shoot. We don't need a spotless ending or the selves we used to be. You pass the chipped cup gently. I fill it with tea. The kettle clicks, the curtains breathe. Your hand waits next to mine. I take it